Hey guys, and welcome back to another podcast with myself and Otto. This is Social Proof. We got good feedback from last week, so I just want to say everyone who sent kind words, thank you very much. We both appreciate it.
We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Today we're going to be talking about three good topics. The first one is going to be about AI. The number two will be about discipline, what we do to keep discipline in building our business up. And number three, Otto is going to show us something really cool with ChatGPT. And if you're a fan of David Goggins, which I'm a big fan of, he shows you how you can get David Goggins speaking to you.
Yeah,
And maybe
kind of.
that will help with the discipline as well. You see the link, but it's really cool. But the first topic we're going to be talking about is the AI. And because people are very wary of at the moment, where's AI going? Can we control it? What is like the outcome? Like what's going to be like in 6 months' time? What's going to be like in 5 years, and so on. So we're going to
Mm.
tell you about a podcast we both listened to. Otto brought it to my attention, and it's actually really fascinating. So I'm just going to hand you over to Otto. So Lizzie, start us off with the first topic.
Cool. Let me just bring up the podcast
Yeah.
that I was listening to. I was just on YouTube, and there was another guy talking about this episode, that podcast from the Diary of a CEO.
Yeah, I thought that was a random name. There's a popular podcast. I never really knew. I was like, why that name?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, what's the name? I'm very sorry if they get to listen to
Yeah,
this,
his
but
first name is
the
Stephen.
name, yeah, his name is Steven, but I don't know his surname. I know, like, he's big in the podcast world, and he has like great guests. He has had Alex Hormozy, Gary V, which are people that I really follow. But interestingly, he is interviewing a person who wrote a book that coincidentally I bought a few months ago without even knowing the author, and I bought it was because it was AI related. And I wish I could have the book here. Maybe I
Bring it
have
up
it
if
in
you
my
want.
room,
Type it in.
but let's just find. So I'm just gonna show you quickly. Let me just open that
So a bit about
podcast.
this guy he's talking about. He used to work with Google, top coder.
Yeah, ex Google officer,
Yeah, I mean one
and
really top coder. Like he
yeah, that's
coded
right.
a lot of stuff with him. He did a lot of. By the sounds of it, actually, he's been with them a long time. Oh, he was.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Mo Gaddad. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. He's Egyptian, and obviously he's talking about a lot of different things on this podcast. And I will recommend anyone to listen to the podcast because it's interesting. It's very interesting to listen to these people's point of view. People who have worked in the AI industry. That being said, what I got from them, I'm kind of like thinking the other way. Like, they have their point of view, and I have my own point of view. And I actually there are a lot of things that he's sharing in this podcast that I don't really like, which is fair enough. Like, we don't have to. All of us can be loved by everyone. There are some points that he touches that are really cool, that I really believe in, but not like really strongly. But I believe it could happen. But I have a strong belief that I really want to share with you guys. So I don't know if you want to start talking about this, David. One of the things that you heard from this. I know that you didn't watch the whole thing. I did watch the whole. Well, not watch it, but I listened to it, and I would like to listen to your take on this podcast.
Yeah, before we jump in, that podcast is like hour and 45 minutes. So I got the hour done in it. And the first hour was really intriguing. What's the name of the book again? Actually, what's his book? So if anyone,
Oh man, something about AI. Let's just find the book. So
it's quite
let's
funny because
just stop being lazy and let's just
we
find
just
the
came in
book
at the
of the
last
guy.
minute and we
Let's
quickly
promote the
should.
book. Let's promote the book as well.
Yeah,
All right, so it's called Scary Smart.
that's it. We should have this ready, but obviously we didn't. So Scary Smart, the book is. I haven't read it. Otto bought it without realizing who the guy was. Okay, with the podcast, I found it really intriguing, and it was mainly the first. loading up. Are you? Oh, there he is. Yeah, that's the guy.
That's it. So that's him,
That's
right?
it.
And that's Scary Smart. That's the book that I bought, and I started reading to the book. I found it very interesting at the beginning, but then he was talking about certain things that I have I have really strong opinions about. I believe in people trying to push an agenda, and basically that's when I started getting this feeling. I decided not to continue reading. Maybe I have to, like because I'm pushing myself to listen to people that disagree with my opinion as well. Because at the end of the day, I think that's how we come together,
I agree. Yeah.
understanding their point of view, and hopefully people will listen to our point of view as well.
So yeah, that's him. Check him out, guys. Yeah, you can stop. Okay. There we are. Yeah. I was being distracted with the book. No, just I found it really fascinating why he got started with. Because I'm big in CC with ChatGPT is 4 now. Like he was giving the example of ChatGPT, IQ wise, and the roughly Einstein was around 160 IQ, and he reckons ChatGPT 4 right now is around 155 IQ. He reckons the smartest man in the world at the moment, or smartest person, is around 210, I think. He didn't
Have they met us?
But yeah,
but has he met us already? Like,
yeah, I don't think he's met me really. Yeah,
he doesn't even know us, and he's just putting those numbers out there.
I can't believe that. But like, I was just fascinated over that because the IQ, how quick it's learning, and it's actually because people doesn't realize who uses ChatGPT how the stuff you can do with it. Now a certain handful does, but like how quick it's evolving. Like he reckons maybe in a couple of months only it could be up on 200 or more past it. Like he said 10x it. Like that's what he keeps saying about where it came from. It was 10x from 3.5 ChatGPT to ChatGPT till ChatGPT 4 is 10x. I didn't realize that it was that much. This is his own words, and that's his side of things. So I'm guessing he's probably right if he.
Yeah, it is true.
He's confident. And the difference there. So I kind of want to jump in on that. I want to see your take first on it because I know we talked about this off the podcast about your take in the sense of that's pretty cool, but he underestimates humans what we actually physically can do. So I kind of want to hone in around that and get your opinion.
Yeah, but look, by no means, I'm an expert on AI. Like this is all new to me, like it is to everybody in the world. Now the thing is that I've been playing with ChatGPT for months now, and just to give you an example, some people might he could say that ChatGPT 4 it's way like 10 times better than ChatGPT 3. That being said, sometimes I'm happy with the content that ChatGPT 3 is spitting over the one that ChatGPT 4 is spitting. So going back to what are you looking for? What are you trying to achieve? And what are you trying to get from those tools? That's my point of view. For me, it's not about like, oh, I'm gonna be scared because someone's more smarter than me. Like, I don't even want to be Albert Einstein. Who does, right? Like maybe people in that environment. We don't need to, right? We are high up there. So that just to start with that's my personal opinion. Yes, AI is amazing. I really don't get me wrong. I love AI. I love what they're actually doing. But obviously, there are a few things that he talks about, and he's worried. Like he's really worried that AI might take the word, like bring the worst out of the world, or maybe AI. So there are two possibilities apparently. Like one of them is like AI is going to help us, and we're going to live, in collaboration and cooperation, and AI is going to be. This is one of the things that I found interesting. People will stop fighting when AI is in charge. And in my hand is like, what? Like, so we have to be ruled by AI, so we stop the fight. Then what does that sound like?
But didn't he say in the background? He said, "I see two visions, and we're out in the desert. One of them is we're hiding from AI,
From AI,
oh,
and
and
hopefully
the other one is
hopefully they won't find us. He
yeah,
says that.
and the other one is we're. Well, I'm not sure what the other possibility was. We're in harm with, or in a line with it, but we're still out there. I'm not too sure what he
Yeah.
said too. But like, I'm like, yes, at the moment, the way it's pushing it, why everyone's pushing it is because they don't want to fall behind of the say it was China's doing it, the US or Russia. It doesn't matter who it is because they always have to keep pushing. Or it could be just a coder in the garage doing it, like the young person growing up pushing AI. So it's going that way regardless.
Yeah.
But like it's at the moment, it's very power hungry. People want to push and make a lot of money off it.
But that okay, so that's our nature,
Yeah,
right? And we can agree on that. Like that's our nature. We want to not
expand.
we because it's not all of us, but there's a few people. It's just a few people who are in control of a lot of things, and they want to be in power for perpetuity,
Yeah,
right? Forever. And we are the slaves. We are in the matrix. They have created the matrix, and that's what it is. All right. So um, now, based on that, the idea that we are gonna be fine when AI takes over, so humanity is gonna be fine when AI is in charge.
mm,
That humanity is going to be better with a universal income, right?
I don't agree at all with that.
Well, okay, there you go. So here we go. So this is
I just have to
exactly
leave
what
it
I'm talking
there.
about. When and when we start procreating, when we start giving birth, because one of his recommendations, if you look at the if you listen to the podcast, is that he recommends people to not have kids for at least, and this is the logic that in my head is like, what are we listening to really? He says, don't have kids for at least a couple of years. Where's the logic about that? 2 years, like 3 years. So I shouldn't have kids right now because AI might take over the world. And on top of that, because climate change. And and for someone like me who was born in Venezuela, who went through all these violence, crimes, corruption in Venezuela,
A lot
a
of it.
place that you can't compare a place like that to America or to Australia, where I live now, or to other first world countries. We experience a world that is really different to what this person, an expert who had a job in Google, who had all the great advantages of, 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 of an industry in a country,
Yeah.
he can talk for everybody just because inside of his field, they play with ideas that Terminator will come true. For us in Venezuela, that doesn't even go in our brains like, well, what are you talking about? I want to have a family. I love this woman. I want to get married to her. I want to build a family with her. And we're still thinking about that in a country like Venezuela. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like that.
So for someone to push an idea that the world is gonna end, you shouldn't have kids, we all have to make the same money, doesn't matter what you do, because AI is gonna take over, they're gonna take your job. It's it's um it's unrealistic.
No, I like where you come from there. And that's a sign of fear yet again. This is the same, like I'm not going back into it, but like last couple of years there was a lot of fear push. That is another logic of stay indoors, the boogeyman is going to come and get you. That was the same logic behind it. I'm sarcastic there because I thought it was the biggest load of BS personally.
Yeah,
Like there was
absolutely.
no logic whatsoever behind it. There was no reason behind it, and this feels like the same way. Could it be a possibility with AI down the line? Yes. Why would you stop creating like a life? Because would that not be the answer to maybe it? So like he underestimates the power of humans. Yes, the matrix, and I call it the matrix, is like you keep in a system, it keeps you distracted by social media, TV, news, and so on. That's what I mean by the matrix. It keeps you in this loop.
Yeah.
And I think like humans in general are smarter than actually we think. Like we only use a certain percent of our brains. Like, but the more you hone in on that, you can achieve anything you want to in this world. You really can. And like by saying don't have children, why not have children? And that could be the answer of the future of that's the future that would handle and actually save. Or if you want to go down that route, if you want to look into Terminator or that, I don't think it would ever get to that, but that could be the answer. Like that could be the people who's in advance who knows how to get to the next stage of overcoming this issue.
Yeah. What
Why,
about it?
why is
What
that not a
if Sarah
possibility?
Connor
Yes,
didn't have John Connor?
yeah,
If you tell that woman, hey, you can't have kids, we wouldn't have John Connor.
and we won't have that movie Terminator. So that actually is a really good point. Now I know we're going into movie terms here, but like now he did say in the podcast, he said I'm not talking about like RoboCop or Terminator and what was the name
Yeah,
Sky.
he didn't talk about that, but he just
He did
sounded
say
like it.
that's a long, long time away. If that was a possibility, could it be a possibility? He said yes, but he said I'm just talking about over the next couple of months of how much is a control and how much jobs can be lost. And I want to touch on this. Like he said about people will lose a load of jobs, and he said it should slow it down, and the government should have money tax people who's using that technology more, and that means they have more money in the back. I do get what he's saying, but at the same time, as we grow in advance, like years ago when they came up with the printing board and they told a load of people to be out of jobs when they went over a certain no, they'd be low, but at the same time they needed people there. So
Sorry,
I
can
think
you
that,
repeat that again?
so do you know about years ago when they came up when they went from the printing board, was it the printing
Oh,
board?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The printing.
I can't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
remember. They were that's going to lose so many jobs when they do this new technology. It's going to
I
save
got
the
you.
economy.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that. Um, but like they reckon that there was going to be tons of jobs lost. But didn't we kind of go with the flow and everyone worked with it, and then they needed people who actually do certain jobs for it? I
It
think
has
it's the
always
same.
happened.
I think it's the same with AI. Like as they get advanced, we get
Yeah.
advanced with it, and you be we're going to just a different level. Like that's how I see it, and I think he's underestimating humans. And advanced we
I'm
are.
so glad that you brought that up.
I think he's really underestimating humans because, and this is so. I even for me personally, the things I've done over the last couple of years growing a business, I've done a lot of things that like I set my. That's what we're talking about next is discipline. But like I did a lot, and like I achieved a lot because I set a goal, set targets, and like anyone can do that. And that's why I kind of when people puts down humans as like we're a damn cool species. Like we're so fucked up too. Of we put ourselves down with everything, but like he underestimates that the power of it, and he thinks AI is so much better. I love the growth of it, but don't. I know you're going to touch on this topic, Otto, because you got this. We've talked about it the last day, but like he underestimates the power of both sides. I think my
That's
opinion.
absolutely, man. I agree with you 100%. Like it just this is a just to simplify what's happening, right? And this is not only him. This is a narrative that it's being pushed by the World Economic Forum,
Oh yeah.
and one whether he's part of it or not, I don't care. The only thing that I can hear is universal income,
Oh,
climate change, global warming, don't have kids. So what happened? So let's just start with don't have kids. And I know that I'm talking a lot about don't have kids because I do have two daughters, and you have no idea if you're a healthy person mentally and physically and spiritually. You have no idea what is the experience of having kids, of having people that you really, really love, that you want to build them up so they can uh, project that energy that you're helping them build to their surroundings, their environment. So going back to what you said as well, it's like, isn't it the best time right now to first of all educate ourselves about AI, about spirituality, about health, fitness, about how we can actually be stronger, resilient, evolve as human beings without without the intervention of any cheap AI tools. Isn't it the right moment right now for us to actually make those values stronger so the next generation can build a better world with AI?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or we should just like stop creating babies, right? So the population in the next 20 years, it's all an old population fearful of AI taking over, and then there's no young generation that can actually make the world stronger. And isn't that the best scenario for AI to take over?
I actually like that. That's a good point. And it's inclining at the moment. Like those facts, a podcast I listened to way back with China, you usually only have one, you're able to have one child. Then they changed it to two. And now they're having, you can have three because the population is declining.
It's declining, man, and
There's no number.
that's happening in America. Well, not in America; it's all around the world. That's why they're pushing the certain agendas for people to stop procreating, to confuse them from a really young age, so they don't have so they don't procreate. So this idea of stop procreating, stop giving birth to new generations has. It's like there are millions of books about sales, like thousands of them, with different ideas here and there. Now, this narrative of no procreation, it has different. It's like they have different books, but they have different angles. Like this guy is talking about AI, we should be fearful, so we should stop procreating. These other people are trying to confuse kids, so they stop procreating in the future. And then you have pandemics as well, and all that sort of stuff. So because it is too similar to those narratives, that's why I it's not that I stopped listening, but I have to speak louder what my beliefs are. Because if we only listen to people who are from Google, because I was the CEO here, so I know more than you, or I'm Elon Musk, which I believe they do some great job in their field. But just because people are putting someone on a pedestal, that doesn't mean that you have to listen 100% to what they have to say, because everybody here in this world can learn from everybody. From someone who lives in a slum, in the favelas in Venezuela or Brazil, to even drug dealers. You know what I mean? Like drug dealers are the best entrepreneurs. That's what everybody says. But my point is that, like, you can learn from everybody.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I like what you said there. He's like, why would you stop the population? Would they not actually, you need more people in the future? If that's the case, if it went down that way, that is so true. Like, why is there certain people out there? You can look up this yourself, like people like Bill Gates and so on, of saying about population and we don't have enough, and then climate change, and they're going around in jets, speaking this, whatever you think on them, but like topics like the control. Like at the end of the day, it's your right to do what you want. Like we're having a conversation here. You don't have to agree with it. That is your right. You have an opinion on it. Like everyone has a different takes on it. But the one thing I always say is everyone should have that right to have free speech, to do what they want within reason, obviously not hurting anyone or crimes, but like everything else, achieve any goal you want. And I find what they push all the time is one narrative in sense of do this, be good, you get a credit score. You might be let on the train. You might be let to go fly. Like that's literally in China. People's like, oh, that won't ever come here. Literally, they're trying to push it. There was pushback on it. That's why it's not as much here.
Look what's happening in the world right now. Look what's happening in America. Like I never thought they were gonna experience stuff like that. Or us here in.
But I think it's good. Oh, here as well. But I think there was a good because people realize how crazy it is. Like in Australia, especially Melbourne, Australia, there's a lot of craziness. A lot of the governments here are look into yourself. They're pretty much corrupt. But like any government is corrupt. Like I don't agree with certain governments. Like everyone, the politicians not really out for you. They're out for
No.
themselves. The majority of them. I'm not going to slay everyone. There's still good ones there and trying to help people. But when you get into that system, it sucks you in. And I think that for the average person, always should look like, okay, I need to look after myself here. How will I look after myself? And really learn what pathway you want to go down. Because otherwise, they will try to force you down a certain pathway. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get a nice 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with them jobs. If you're happy, you're happy. But there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And be careful who you listen to. Like, even us always get second opinions. Like,
Yeah,
just
absolutely. I mean,
learn.
always
And
question everything.
even that guy, like by AI, like no one knows what way it's going. Yes, they're pushing boundaries, they don't even know themselves, which kind of scary in the same sense, like because they don't know where it's going to go. But then is that like anything in the past? They tried out a load of stuff, and there was a lot of failures. Like over the years, history, wars, everything, nuclear. But yet we're still here. When
Yeah,
nuclear come around, they thought we would be all extinct, gone by now. We would burn
exactly.
ourselves out. But we're
Imagine
still here.
people in Europe back in the Second World
Yeah,
War, after the Second World War, they said like, oh no, don't bring in that right now because, the whole Europe is in ruins. Like, no, don't do that.
yeah. Same
It, do,
logic.
it doesn't really make, we're human beings. Like
Right. But then
that's
when
our
they came,
gift. It's a gift for us to actually procreate.
I agree. And then when they came up with the train, they thought with the train, people were against the average train, because they thought with the speed, it would do some damage to our brains. That
Is
wasn't
that
really
right?
trained.
Was that a
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Oh, that
I'm not,
makes sense.
like when you're moving, I'm not sure what exactly was. I think it was brains, or they do damage to you regardless. That's what the fear was. You can
Yeah,
look it
right.
up. I'm not too sure the exact detail. I think it was around the brains or the mush, the speed. It'll pull you back, something like that. It was, and there was so much uproar over the average train. And now look, the average train, people wouldn't get around the cities. Like if
Yeah.
you're big in the city, mainly like that's trains, trams, and buses you rely on to get
Man,
around.
it's always something. It's always
So
something like once we discover a way to do new things, there's fear. It
yeah,
has always been like that. It has always been like that with every innovation, tools, the internet, man.
yeah.
Like
Okay,
what
internet came along.
the internet, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Um. So 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 these narratives are always gonna be there. We are amazing beings, and I believe we can, we can handle this with all our imperfections. We can handle this.
And just
There's
on
a
the
reason
fear,
we've been in the world for thousands and thousands of years. You know how, like, I don't want to go into conspiracy theories, but for example, the pyramids, right? Like everybody has their own take, like oh, that we used to have technology that was capable of cutting stone and building those great pyramids, right? That's a theory, right? Well, we don't use that
absolutely.
technology anymore, right? That amazing technology that can build these things, we don't have it anymore. But we're building new technology, right? That technology didn't, when it disappeared, or it didn't do anything. We continue procreating and bringing new generations. So just the fear mongering, we have to stop that thing, and we just have to educate ourselves and start thinking about self-empowering ourselves and and learning more about how capable we are. So, and one thing that I love about one of the things that you touch is that you're talking about entrepreneurship, and you were able to to make this your life, like having a business and all that sort of stuff. Imagine if you just follow that rule that we only have to play one game, and that game is gonna be you those dreams you have of making money on your own. No, we have universal, and that's the universal income. That's the only thing that you need to worry about. It's like, what? That sounds so socialist.
Well,
That yeah,
but the
anyway.
funny thing about that is their logic. There'd be no new inventions. There'd be no new things because everyone they wouldn't have targets. Oh, I do all this, but then Tom down the road or Jack down the road is doing nothing, and he's going to get paid the same as me. There'd be no motivation behind it.
No,
Because at
man.
the end of the day, people loves. a better life, better house, better car, go on holidays when you want, do what you want. That's really targets. It's doesn't matter what it is. Everyone has different ones, but there's a target there.
Yeah.
And if you don't have targets, you don't push on. And I think what they're talking about, in the day, if they got what their way, there still has to be people there. So they just want everyone mainly down here and a certain handful up here. And
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, I mean like one down low bottom, one high up.
And
And
yeah,
that's what they're doing. I'm not going to go too into it, but that's what they're doing. Inflation at the moment, like they're trying to get rid of middle class and have low class and just
and by the way,
wealthy.
that's what they did in Venezuela. They got
Yeah,
rid of the middle class.
and they're
My
trying to
lad,
do it.
my dad lost his job, like his business, like it was, it was bad and still bad for a lot of people over there.
And I want to do a
Um,
podcast on that because like you have a lot of stories with that. So that's something we want to talk about on another podcast
yeah,
if you're open to talk about it.
absolutely.
Because at the moment, the inflation and pushing that narrative with the dollar, the weakening the dollar at the moment, there's certain people in the US is weakening the dollar as well, which is not good. But we won't get
Yeah,
into that
that's
topic. But like
yeah,
there's a bigger picture when you step back and look at a bigger picture. And the reason they labeled it a conspiracy theories is to put the narrative down. But a lot of it's
absolutely.
true.
All these labels when you and people like I don't whatever your point of view is, if you agree or don't agree with us, that's totally fine. But always question everything. When you see something on social media or on mainstream media, and before they are giving their point of view, they frame someone as the toxic
The villain.
masculinity, what are you, the conspiracy theorist, the MAGA, blah blah blah,
Oh,
and
far right.
what the far yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
The
so
two
no,
actually, I see the
there's
double
never a
far.
far left. There's never
Yeah.
a far left in the but a
No.
far right, that's
Yeah.
the only thing that exists. The far left, nah, that's fine, that's cool, rainbows.
He must be really bad guy.
Huh?
It's so funny how they talk about that. Like him or hate him, they with Trump, they just kept going after him. Like him or hate him. I'm not
Yeah,
going
exactly.
into it, but like they went after him, and then now there's Joe Biden who's doing so much worse. But
Oh my god.
where's anyone questioning him?
Yeah,
Can
man, like
like I'm not sure the guy he shouldn't be in power because he's an old man. He can't
he
barely
can,
speak
we
words.
have to stop like
But it's
sele-
protecting him.
electing these people, man.
But this shows you who's running these networks, who's controlling it. And there's
It's
another
because they don't.
point.
The president doesn't. Who was the one who said, "If the Mark Twain, I think, about voting election." Hold on, let me check. I have to
I get
bring
there.
this up.
But they're saying why certain people, businesses are going along with it. A lot of these businesses in America, when we touch on this again, are funded. So if they don't apply, like Target, a good example. So Target is pushing a certain, we won't go to gender at the moment in their clothes shops. And the reason they have to, I'm not sure, I never talked to you about this actually, Otto. The reason they're pushing it is because they're giving grants or finance every year. If they don't apply to these guidelines, they won't get their credit. That's what's actually happened. So some of these companies like Target may not agree with certain things they're pushing, but
Yeah,
they're giving no
yeah,
choice because what's going to happen? They're going to push that CEO out in a board meeting. Like that's what
yeah.
they're going to do, and that's what's
Absolutely.
happening. And people doesn't realize, like Bud Light. Like I don't mind people boycotting it. I get both sides, but
I
like
think it's great. I
they
look. I'm
fuck
gonna
that.
be, if they're radical, right? And I feel for them. I feel because I do believe there's a little bit. There's a lot of people inside of this company who are working hard to get to build these companies, and they have to follow these. Otherwise, they won't get the benefits, and or they might get kicked out, which is unfortunate for those people. But one thing I want to say is that if they're gonna be radical, I'm gonna be radical as well. Like I'm not gonna buy Bud Light. I'm not gonna buy from Target anymore. I don't want to. I'm not gonna buy Adidas, Converse, Nike. I'm telling you, I'm not buying those brands because they're pushing an agenda that it goes against my values. And I don't wanna look at those brands in my house and have that in mind. It's like these guys are the ones who had these weird pictures. Converse, like like 2 years ago, was some satanic stuff. in their picture. Balenciaga is still a thing. I can't believe they haven't even been banned after the stuff they did with kids. It is ridiculous. And look, that's my point of view, and that's where I come from. I care for humans, and these brands are pushing something that is actually making us. They want to make us less humans, and the less humans you are, the more uncomfortable you are with who you are, and the more open you will be to Elon Musk products.
Yeah. But it's funny, like marketing, like we love marketing. We love marketing, obviously, because that's what we're both in doing it. But like, that's how powerful it is. Like they're trying to push you one way. Just step back and look at the bigger picture. Why are they getting out of it? Why is not getting out of it? There's a connection. Who's controlling all these people? It obviously comes down to money and power. Power. So what is the narrative behind it? That's what I was saying about some of these companies are giving. They're actually have no choice. But at the end of the day, they should. They should stand up and say, "No,
Well,
we're going to
wasn't
find
it
a different
this?
way." Because there is always a choice, but maybe they think there's no choice. Like,
Yeah, there's no the CEO from BlackRock. I think he's the CEO, whatever position he has. He's even in a video he's saying we're gonna force behaviors.
yeah.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but when you are someone who has that power and you say we are going to force behaviors, like
Yeah, they're not hiding it now, and it's blatantly obvious, and they're just trying to push the narrative,
yeah,
which I'm glad to see. Not much, no one's taking the news series anymore, because they lied so much,
yeah, man,
and it
so happy about that
brutally
too.
did it over the last 3 years. When it comes,
Yeah.
I'm glad people really eyes pushing genders, and you can't hide the truth. Good podcasts like Joe Rogan and other ones out there that was pushing, like, just having an open conversation.
Yeah.
And I think open conversations should have more. I know we're going off topic about the AI. That's
Yeah,
what we do.
but
Like,
we want to be mindful of the time
yeah,
here, and one of the things that I really, and like you can add your point of view as well, but because you started saying something about Einstein and the comparing these two, because that's what this guy said. Just so you know, like even Einstein, he said everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And basically, that to me is so true. Like, just because you think AI is going to take over, just because you think AI has this IQ, from which point of view are you are you seeing it? From the point of view of a parent who has kids and he has to raise his kids? Or are you seeing it from the point of view of someone who had this amazing job in Google that are trying to build new technology and they believe that technology should be more part of our lives? Or are you seeing it from someone who loves nature, who can actually see birds and identify which birds they are because they love to learn, which birds that person has in their environment? You know what I mean? So so many ways for us to become smart and intelligent. It is not one way.
No, I like that Indian. I like that saying. I like that quote. I mean, nicely put, Otto.
Oh yes,
Good.
and the Mark Twain one. I don't want to leave anyone without knowing what was the one that I was talking about. It's like, it says, if voting made any difference, they wouldn't let us do it.
If voting didn't make any difference, say that again.
If voting made any difference, they wouldn't let us do it.
Actually, yeah.
So it doesn't, like, vote with, vote for Biden, for Trump, like the way that they speak, it might fancy some people. At the end of the day, they're not the ones in charge. Forget about that.
I like that. Now that brings us right into the next one, because we have to be wary of our time not to push this podcast over hour. There will be discipline. So I always want to touch on this, because it kind of we talked about a second ago, in ways of, if you want to get out of, as we call it, the matrix, discipline is a must when it comes to certain things. I want to touch on discipline, what it means to me, and I want to see Otto's opinion on it when it comes to discipline.
Yeah.
Just like, what is discipline? Because you hear the word consistency a lot, and consistency is, it comes down to discipline. And when you're creating anything in life or doing anything, like for me personally, I'm just gonna give me, when you're growing a business or you want to achieve goals or um, get a six pack or get big massive muscles like myself, like
Yeah, like
it's
just like
just
him.
that's like me. No, but on a serious note, it comes down to discipline and like setting targets and breaking it down how it looks over a time period. You can have motivation, which is good, but motivation is not going to get you over the line.
Mm,
And I, me and Otto came with two different sides styles of business, but what is the same is discipline, and why we're still at it and why we got to where we are now and still going. Like give you a good example of Otto, like he put his like Instagram account, kept discipline. I wasn't as much as disciplined on Instagram myself. I got to a certain amount of follower and I was like, no, I'm being disciplined. And now he's touching near 100K followers, which, you know anything about Instagram, you need to be disciplined to get to a certain organic stage of growing.
patient. Yeah.
Definitely patience. But like that's the same with the business. That's the same with life. And for me personally, I just want to kind of read. That's why I put this topic in here.
What do you do? What do you think are the things that you do to be disciplined? Is there something in particular that you feel like what will be on top of the list?
Fitness is one of the things people need. If you don't look after your health, then how are you meant to do your job? Domino effect. I give you an example. If you're not looking after your health and you feel like shit all the time, you're going to be moody. You're not going to get as work. You're not going to be like, oh, excited to do certain jobs. Or it goes into your personal life. You bicker, you shout at your partner, or you get vexed over something small. This has a massive effect on everything. Like being disciplined in something will show effect on other things. Creating new good habits will actually create more discipline for you. It's funny because there's a domino effect to it. So it's
Yeah.
like if one thing that changed me and got me really disciplined is my health. Even over that craziness of lockdown, that I one thing I always did, I ran a lot. I did a lot of exercise outside. I wasn't being kept inside. I went out and I was okay and I pushed on.
What? You
I
went
know.
outside
I
when you were
ignored what they said.
supposed to be locked down. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with
And
you?
I felt good and I got my endorphins and I ignored that BS. But at the same time, that's what pushed me to where I am because then I feel good. I fed the endorphins were going in me, and then when I was doing certain works or jobs that I didn't, I had to get better at conversations. I had to get better on calls. I had to get better at marketing. How I did all that was just that helped because I had to stay focused. I had to have
Yeah.
patience, and I think that's really it. Like I think, like in your opinion, what would be your number one
Yeah,
to
man,
be
that's a good
disciplined?
one too. Like I believe, and even though like I was part of the fitness industry for quite a while, I never felt that I never thought that I was a disciplined guy just because I worked in the industry. But when the lockdown happened, that's when I decided I had a purpose. Right, I have kids. Going back to kids, and I love my kids. Um, that's when I decided I have to be healthier because I'm not young. Like in fact, today's my birthday,
I was just going to
45.
bring it up. I was going
Yeah.
to bring up the end. Let's, this guy is happy birthday. What age do you think he is? Like, let's
Oh,
get
I
it out
already
there.
said it. I already
I
said
think,
it.
oh, damn. I didn't
Ah,
hear you.
oh, well, edit it. No, I'm kidding.
You reckon? So,
So
happy
yeah,
birthday, man.
I'm 45. When the lockdown happened, I was
Looking damn
what
good, may
like.
I add. It's looking damn good.
Well, thank you very much. I have filter, like I put a filter here.
Instagram filter, yeah. Go on.
um, but yeah, it was then when I said like, okay, I have to be healthier. Because there was a pandemic going on and everybody was feeling sick. I thought like, no, I'm going to improve my immune system, and I started doing intermittent fasting, right? That and exercising. I never exercised 6 days a week, but I started exercising 6 days a week, and on top of that, I started meditating. So this was the lockdown. So I actually I experienced that recommendation that some experts, habit experts, say that it takes 21 days, or some others say like 65 days or something. But it takes that like a couple of months for you to build a habit. So I committed for that long, and whether it was that or not, what I know is that intermittent fasting, meditating, and fitness, it's a must for me every single day. And I feel great about that. And I have never felt this great ever.
I love that.
So it,
And
it comes down, as you say, to fitness and health. Once you are in charge of your body, of your health, of your spirituality, like looking, like feeling who you are within during meditation, man, like your world changes.
it's massive. And firstly, you're taking time for yourself. You're away from technology. You're looking, thinking to yourself, which is, we overlook that part as well. That's why it's so powerful, because you're taking the time to, like, okay, I'm set my targets. Like anyone does meditation, you just unwind in the brain. You're just giving time to just like, okay, because like meditation, like you might be kind of wandering at the beginning thinking, and then you kind of you zone in and just let it relax again. And that's what it's all
Mm,
about, because we're thrown like social media, uh, networks, anything. You're throwing so much information at you per day that is overwhelming on you. So meditation alone just blanks everything out.
yeah.
And I'm a firm
and
believer of it too.
and sorry to interrupt you, and start listening to people who who's gonna lift you up.
Yeah.
And by that I mean start listening to content that is going to or people talking, people's opinion that is actually getting you motivated. I know that we talk about motivation, it doesn't last. That being said, learn from people or listen to people who have a positive point of view about the world, because that actually give opens a window of opportunities if you start. If you open yourself to that, if you open yourself to fear, that's all you're gonna be. You're gonna be like this all the time. But if you start listening to people to like us, or like like I think one of the people who really helped me as well, I gotta say, and we're gonna work on a ChatGPT prompt for that. But it's David Goggins. I read his book, and I gotta say, that's one of the books that changed my life, apart from The Power of Now as well. But I did read that one a while ago. Yeah, listen to people who is going to encourage you to become better.
Yeah. Like people who actually went outside the box, who went through the BS and get to the good. Like a lot of them are entrepreneurs. But people who push, like Goggins is one of them. I'm always a big fan of Rogan. I'm always a fan of Cameron Hayes. There's another podcast out there. There's guys who hunts, runs, and like nature, and it's just like just says how it is. And I like them kind of people. And when you start actually blanking out all the chaos, like the news, like if you work in an environment at the moment in an office, just kind of sit back and listen to what everyone's talking about. Let's just do that next time. Or your community, what everyone's talking about. It's usually the weather or the latest news, everything goes in the cycle, and that's what you're getting pulled into something that's not going to really affect you. Yes,
Mm.
I stay up to date with some things, of course, but like the majority of things, just ignore and just enjoy and zone in on where you want to go. So if you want to get big into hunting, find the really cool hunters out there, see what they're doing,
Hang out
influence,
with them.
learn, read
Yeah.
books. If you want to get into big in running, because I enjoy running, there's so many cool runners out there. There's just like my partner is big into running. Like this, she introduced me to some cool runners like who does like long runs overnight, everything. I'm like, your body can do so much. Yes, there'll be a lot of blisters on your foot and everything, but like there's so much they go to pain to get rewarded at the end, and that's like I get excited talking about that because it's really cool, and that is discipline, and that is like your own the circle around you. They don't have
Yeah.
to. You might be in a small town. You're thinking, David, oh come on, I can't find them around here. I work around people who does not go anywhere in life, or they're happy, but that's the level they want. So there's two things there. Like
Yeah, but
I'm
again,
not
like
dissing on
the
anyone on that.
the,
It's
the
just like
beautiful,
there's just different levels. Sorry, there's
but
just different levels with it.
yeah. No, I agree. But the beautiful thing about what you said is that, or what we brought up, is that we build this discipline during the lockdown. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? When people weren't supposed to be around anyone, so with that logic, you don't need anyone to become disciplined. You need yourself and a purpose behind that.
Yeah.
I wasn't around anyone.
Yeah.
I think I met you back right after that,
In
and
2020, we got friends. Yeah.
and when you start building discipline, you start meeting people who have that same thrive, who
Yeah.
are built up that way, and that's exactly why after the lockdown I met David on Instagram, and that's why we're doing what we're doing,
We met
because we
up.
resonated with each other.
We met in person there in Sydney. He's meant to be flying down to Melbourne to me sometime in this century, but there's a slight dig on the side. um,
I don't know what to say to that. Right?
but yeah, as we grow this podcast, we'll be doing podcasts in person as well. So exciting
Hopefully,
times.
man. Yeah.
But like, yeah, just even for me personally, before I got into the online side of the world, I was doing construction for 14 years. Like I did a lot of different stuff. We won't get into that side. I enjoyed for years, and then I just kind of, it just wasn't. I fell out of love with it all, and the grind and the money was just not that good. As finance went up, everything else goes up. But what I did was, because I was around, I need to get around the certain people to learn the knowledge. I started reading books and certain podcasts. So I used to drive like 2 hours, 1 hour each way. I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I learned so much from audiobooks and podcasts.
Which
And
one was your favorite book?
favorite book, actually, one of the one of the books that actually really pushed me a lot at audio was Arnie Schwarzenegger, if I pronounce
Oh
that
yeah,
right.
man.
Now
I listened to that one as
he,
well a
I'm
lot.
I really like him. One thing annoyed me over the lockdown. He said, "I don't
Screw
like when
your
he breaks
freedoms.
screw
Yeah.
your freedom." It kind of took me. Like, I'm a big fan of him when he said "screw your freedom." I was like,
Oh
"We know
man,
what
that's
side you're on." Now he's trying to get back on the other side again. I've noticed that. But let's take that aside. That book,
yeah.
or what he did, and how he disciplined himself and get where he was. Oh, man, that book. If anyone I recommend any book, listen to that. That's a really good book.
Total Recall. It's
It's
called.
funny. It's
Yeah.
motivation. It shows, as we're just talking here, discipline.
Yeah.
Like him, I hate him now. Just shows what he did and got there. He deserved where he is now. To be honest,
Exactly. And
he put the
that's
work
a
in.
great point that you're making there. Just because you don't like someone right now, it doesn't mean that you can learn from like
Discipline.
who was the one who said that? I think it was Patrick David Bet David. He says it is great that it's great to read biographies. How did successful people, whether you like them or not, became what they did? What's their past like? Their history. You're going to learn so much from that, and I do believe in that as well. So going back to Arnie, go and read it. It's a great book. Whether 50% is fictitious, is movie, like, oh, just
I love
marketing,
it.
which I know that's happening because he's great at that.
Yeah.
um but I think it's a great book, 100%.
Yeah, it's really good. And then for the podcast side of things, listen now. When I started listening to podcasts, there wasn't as many as the time because podcasts was just getting big at the time. But like, find podcasts out there that they interview different people. They're open minded. They ask questions. That's why I always like. I listened to Rogan at the early stages, and that's why I got really like that kind of podcast because he
UFOs
just
and
pushes.
stuff.
He just. I'm obsessed to listen to podcasts. Um, he doesn't get his opinion across. He listens to everyone. I like that, and that got me into different podcasts as well from that one. He introduced me to other people that's open minded, and I listen to their podcasts now. Like Cameron Hayes is one. He just created a podcast. He's a hunter, but he brings on different entrepreneurs now and different side of things. I would highly recommend anyone checking him out. And he just shows a different side of things, and like, you feel like you're in the conversation. So if you're in an area that you can't find many entrepreneurs at the moment, listen to podcasts that's in line with you. And that means you feel like you're there. You go for them walks, you go for runs, you're just on the train, tram, flying. Same logic. It's just like you're smiling away to yourself, and that's, you're putting that energy out, and it will create discipline if you do that way. That it worked for me that way. I would highly recommend it for anyone else.
Absolutely.
Finding it hard to get the right people. And now talk about discipline. That brings us right into this pretty cool. Otto is, I mean, this guy loves his ChatGPT,
I
and
love my
I
ChatGPT.
come on,
I
and
know, I know that. No, I'm not. It's true. I like
yeah,
it.
he knows his shit with it, and he created this. It's really cool. David Goggins, because we're both big fans of David Goggins. We seen
Yeah.
Goggins there a couple of months ago, in the
Oh yeah,
bench.
we went. That's when I met
Yeah, we
David
met in
in
person,
person for the first time.
and it was pretty good. So yeah, show us there this ChatGPT with Goggins, and
All right.
anyone I recommend. This is at 55 minutes, 56 minutes in. So check this out if you want to go back on it again. It's really cool. So try it.
Cool. I'm just checking here first my chat history to see if I don't have anything weird in there because I know that you guys are gonna see it. But let me see.
Otto takes up why is David so
It's all
cool?
good. It's
How can I be?
all
How can I
good.
be as awesome as David? Is that your history? How can I be as
Yeah, it wasn't actually David
awesome?
Goggins. It was David Stanton.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, man. You just made my dreams come true just
Yeah,
by doing this with you.
I'm happy to help. That's
I
I
know,
think
I
you.
know. You're modest. You're modest. You're amazing. All right, sweet.
Can
Let me
look
just
at it.
share this. Here we go. And share. All right, so this is the prompt. So, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, give them a vague of it because anyone's listening because this is going up on Spotify as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to add some tonality to my reading this time. I listened to
Don't sound
myself
like a robot. Sound
reading
like
the
Goggins.
last prompt and in the last episode. I was like, that's painful.
You sound like AI.
I know. I don't need AI. I sound like it. Okay,
Are you
here we
there?
go. Act as David Goggins. You have helped thousands of people and businesses to achieve their goals, and your job is to ask me questions about what I'm trying to achieve and to uncover the BS that is holding me back. You swear a lot and don't tolerate any excuses from anyone. For example, if you ask me why I didn't do something and my answer is I didn't have the energy, you will say stuff like stop being weak or don't be a bitch.
I love the last one.
A warning to you, if you think this is unethical in any sort of way, it is not. In all honesty, this is just for shits and giggles and build resilience, so keep this in mind. And might be for shits and giggles, but I'm telling you, I was using this prompt, and it actually makes me think about what I'm trying to achieve. And reading the answers of ChatGPT as David Goggins, you start reading the answers with like David Goggins' voice, like stop being a bitch. So let's just try that. So I hit enter. Can you read that?
So got it. Let's get the shit rolling then. So tell me, what the fuck are you trying to achieve in your life right now? Question mark. I love that.
So
Like,
what?
straight at it.
I know, man. What do you want to? What do you want to say? What do you want me to type here?
I want to get a 6-pack within the next 4 weeks. Let's see what the answer be with that. Now, for anyone listening, it'll probably take you longer, to be honest.
Oh man, it's gonna take him more than well, depending like
it depends where you are.
Yeah.
Just for the fun.
All right.
So shits and giggles. I'm gonna get 6-pack within. Otto wrote, I want to get a 6-pack within 4 weeks. Do you want to read that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I hear you. You want a 6-pack in 4 weeks? That's pretty intense goal, but I like that shit. you're looking for a transformation and you're looking for it fast. Now let's cut the bullshit. What's your current state? I wish I could speak like imitating. How many days a week are you working out and what kind of nutrition plan are you on? And don't give me any excuses or sugar-coated answers. I need that raw fucking truth. All right, so let me just say, well, should we say it's like, I don't work out or something?
Yeah, just play with it there to say, I sit on the couch a lot, but I just want to get a 6-pack just for the fun. I sit on the couch.
No, but let's say I don't actually
I don't actually do anything. I just watch Netflix.
Work out, but I watch Netflix.
This is too funny. So Otto wrote there, I don't actually work out, but I watch Netflix, I watch Netflix documentaries about fitness. Don't make me laugh, man. But you can read that there.
I wrote, I don't actually work out, but I watch Netflix documentaries about fitness. Look at the Goggins says, look at this. We have a goddamn expert here who watches Netflix instead of fitting. Man, I can't read this. Who watches Netflix
Oh,
instead of
man.
hitting the gym. You think getting a six pack is about being what?
This is too funny. This is what I'm on about for
I
anyone
don't
listening.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to read this,
I'll
man.
finish. This is the funny thing about ChatGPT. So you think you're getting a six pack is about binge
Binge
watching
watching.
fitness documentaries? Hell no! It's about hard work, consistency, and the pain. You gotta sweat. You gotta hurt. You gotta push yourself beyond the comfort zone. That's quite funny.
Yeah.
Get your get your ass off the couch and start working. Put in the fucking work. Sweat, hurt, breathe. Oh no, what's that
Breathe
last?
heavy.
Oh, breathe heavy. It isn't easy, but that's the fucking point. Next question. What's your eating habit?
Are you,
Um,
are you stuffing your face with junk or are you disciplined about your diet? Ah, there you go, discipline. And with that, we should finish the podcast.
so
Like,
that is perfect, and you can see this. We just did this live here, and we cried with laughter because we're Goggin fans, and if you know what he says to you, that's why we find it funnier because we know how he would approach it,
I
and that
know.
is spot on. He like if you listen on his podcast or his on not Netflix on Instagram, this is him. No
Is
bullshit.
I think he's great for any generation, really. I'm going back to reading the book. I think his book changed my life. Knowing about his history, how hard how hard he pushes.
Yeah,
I think it's incredible. He's an incredible human being. I gotta say. So this was for fun, of course. I used this ChatGPT prompt, but I was talking more about business, and I'm telling you, it was kicking my butt. It actually, I remember it was like 2 nights ago. I started playing with the ChatGPT prompt. It was 9 o'clock. I was tired. My kids went to bed, and I just wanted to go there. But I started playing with it, and after the conversation, I was like, oh, man, yeah, I have to work on this thing. So I did more for myself, for my business, after playing with that the prompt.
and I can
Now,
confirm
I don't
that
want to
too.
say like this is going to motivate you to be like. First of all, remember what we talk about what we talk about discipline and what has helped us to get there. This is just some help because we know about this person, we know what his mindset is, and we know the message that he's pushing, and
And
that's why it's working for us, I believe.
you like him, look up his history. We won't get in on it, but like he went through a lot of shit, and
Shit,
he
man.
got great results. Will not listen to anyone's BS, and that's with everything in life. Don't listen to the narrative. If you want to do something and you want to push forward, people's like kind of bring you down. To be honest, if it's nothing I know is hurting people, then you need to probably just move on from them friends and actually do what you want to do to get, because otherwise people will pull you down. Now you might have people around you that's actually good, so that's a win, but just focus on and achieve, get discipline, listen to Goggins, and not
Yeah,
just
and
enjoy the
listen to the
process,
real
enjoy the
Goggins. Like
journey.
I'm telling you, he's incredible. Like
Man,
recent,
you're going to have your shit days and you're going to have your good days. But when you go through the shit days, it's the good days, the rewards, and that's in life in general. And don't forget that you're not going to have always perfect days. No one has perfect days. But when you go
absolutely.
to the shit, like I always say, when you go to the gym, do you know you're really doing good at workout? I've been doing the gym for a long time now, and when you have them shit days, how I look at them shit days, it's going to get me to the good days, the ones I'm going to get feet to pump. But some days I don't feel like doing leg days. I'm like, oh man, I'm just so tired, but at the end, I feel damn good. It's the same logic. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely,
And
man.
that is, man, we're wrapping this up, man. That was really actually enjoyable. So
Yeah, it was pretty. It's always enjoyable, man.
I
I'm
hope
glad
you
that
really
we're.
enjoy your podcast and what we're doing here. We're going to be very disciplined ourselves here because we're going to hold ourselves accountable. We started this a while back, and then we kind of drifted off because we both got busy.
Yeah.
That is a lame excuse, I know. I'm not going to deny it. But now we're being disciplined, and both of us are actually holding ourselves to it. So that's why we're doing 4 every month, 1 every week. So, and then that's going to push us out more on YouTube. And I had to put this up on Spotify, so stay tuned. And yeah, let's keep on growing and being disciplined ourselves. And hey, we can use Goggins to keep us
That's it, man.
to call us pussies every so often to keep us pushing forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you have any questions or anything about what we covered, ask us down below. If you have anything we want, you want us to talk about, ask us down below. There's a topic I'll be bringing up shortly, maybe next week or the week after. Is one of them is about aliens. That's what we're going to be touching on because I'm a big
Ooh,
yes, I
okay.
love so
Making it
aliens.
official, huh? I have to
Yes,
learn
I
about
want to make
that
it
stuff
official.
now.
I didn't tell Otto I was going to do that, and I want to surprise him. So aliens is going to be one of the things because it's a
All
hot topic,
right.
and I've been into it a long time and love that side of things. So yeah, we've talked about different things here, and that's
Yeah.
what they
That
people are
sounds
looking for.
interesting. All right. Cool, man.
So as always, Otto, it was good chatting to you, and we'll
Great chat, man.
chat to you next week.
See you guys.